We are just getting started on Maxim 7. I was saying Maxim 7 is a very broader maxim, and it requires certain understanding, certain attitude, certain approach, and certain outlook. So let me see if I can put the maxim on the screen. I was actually thought I'll watch the YouTube video which is by Daji before I discuss on this maxim, but I didn't get any chance. But anyway, so let's work on it together. I'm not going to play the video though. It's about 20 minutes, but I'll definitely share it.
Know all people as thy brethren, and treat them as such.
So know all people as thy brethren, and treat them as such. Again, like I said, all these maxims are there to bring certain harmony in our life. Always, whenever you are reading a maxim, look at it from that perspective. Again, as you practice, each one can develop their own perspectives, right? That's why heartfulness is not a rigid system. If you talk to, everyone who is practicing heartfulness, each one have a different outlook or takeaway from heartfulness. And that's how it should be. It's a very dynamic system. Each one is approaching from their own, cultural, religious, and many backgrounds. If an atheist comes and says, "Oh, I don't believe in God," we say, "You are most welcome. You don't have to believe in God." If a believer comes and says, "Oh, I believe in a particular God," you are most welcome to believe in that. Few years back, I came across there is an organization who believe a spider to be their god. It's in where is that? Not Connecticut, Kansas, near Kansas. You can actually search on look on the internet. It doesn't matter whom you believe in. I believe in spider. Can I practice heartfulness? Yes, you are most welcome. Right? So, how does it matter what we believe in? What we are working on is that expansion of consciousness, so that we can realize that inner essence within, that higher essence within. So my simple takeaway after doing this heartfulness for almost 30 years now, my simple takeaway is this essence was there even before we all existed. It's like I always give this example: seed. You plant a seed, seed becomes a plant, and plant becomes a tree. Where did the seed go? So now the essence of the seed is all pervading the tree. Regardless, what we believe in or what we don't believe in, everyone agrees there is an origin for this creation, entire existence. And from this origin, you might call it God or beyond God or the higher essence or the spider, doesn't matter. Right? So there is an origin, there is an essence. And from that essence, from that unmanifest, you can call it, this whole manifestation came into existence. And that unmanifest, when it began to manifest, when it kind of, there is an entity. If you call God exist, I'm still referring to it as an entity. If I say God does not exist, even I'm still referring to as an entity as not exist. but the entity is common. you know. So that from that unmanifest there is something manifested. And that which something manifested has its own state of existence, state of consciousness. Lot of times we misunderstand this concept of consciousness. Imagine the car and the driver. And the driver is driving the car. What will happen if suddenly driver disappears from the car? Right? It goes off the road. Right? What if the driver is sober? Still you cannot predict how the drive is going to be, right? What if the driver is lost in his cell phone conversation? So the driving of the car depends on the state of the driver who is driving. So here, assuming the driver has, enough skills to drive, but his state of consciousness is altering his quality of driving. Correct? So same thing here. Our driver, the life driver, is that consciousness. If that consciousness is absent, we go off the road. Then we don't know what's happening to us. We don't know that we have to eat. We don't know that we have to sleep. We don't know anything. You see, even if the mind is aware because of the consciousness, if the mind can see, okay, this is the building, this is my home, this is my office, or anything to recognize, for the mind to acknowledge and recognize or cognize, awareness is required, and that awareness is provided by the consciousness. So now, it's not only the consciousness is there, but the state of that consciousness is also very important. Correct? For me to properly function in every aspect of life. So where is the connection between this thy, treat everyone as, all as thy brethren, and the consciousness? What is the relation? Correct? Where am I going with this topic? So the idea is that consciousness which is available to us is a universal consciousness. There is no individual consciousness. Okay. This is a very big surprise for many. It's a pool of consciousness. Our available consciousness is very small. But as we are expanding, we recognize this universality or oneness. When I recognize as oneness with everything around me, whether it's a tree, whether it's an animal, whether it's a human, or whether it's a spider. I don't know why I'm talking about spider too much today. But anyways, whether it's a spider.
You can't escape them in Florida.
Yeah. So, whatever it is, everything is connected through this consciousness. We all, as part of beings, a part of this earth, is one family. And the earth is our base. But when I recognize this universality or oneness, then I cannot treat other individual as separate from me. So now here we get into lot of variations, correct? So the master or the previous teacher of heartfulness, his name is Chariji. Once I was with him and I was kind of hearing, I don't know, somehow he looked at me and said, we should not throw our heart on the street. our heart on the street for everyone to trample on it. So I was like shocked. On one side, we say, treat everyone as thy brethren. At the same time, he's saying, be careful of what you do, how you interact with this existence or with this outside universe. Right? And we say on one side, love everyone, and but then again on the other side, don't throw your heart on the street. I kind of got into, thinking, what was his message saying? And 15 years later, Daji comes and says, we have to maintain harmony at any cost. But, there is always a but. But, you must also protect yourself at any cost. You see the two different, aspects. So how do you reconcile? How do you process these statements, correct? So we try to maintain the harmony, but at the same time, unless I protect myself, I cannot be standing on the ground. I cannot do anything unless I protect myself. Should I let go?
Isn't there a beautiful story about the snake that Chariji used to share?
Saying, yes, but I'm deliberately not going to that example because it kind of takes away from this thought process. Reason here, it is not about. So here what we need to do is the harmony, yes, but protect we must ourselves. I'll give you an example, right? See, one girl came to me and she told me that her husband is very abusive and how she should handle this situation. I said, did you talk to him that his behavior is troubling you? Yes, I mentioned it so many times. Did you talk to his parents? Did you talk to your parents? She said his parents are very supportive of him and they blame me for all the things happening. I told her, hey, yes, you can get mad at him if he's not behaving right, and she said she tried, but it turned into a disaster. So basically she was in a position, whatever she does or she'll do is not going to work out. I said, you get away from your husband first. Go to your parents' house. Wait for a few months. Pray for him. See here, now you're getting out of the situation to protect yourself. At the same time, you're showing that love. You're praying. You're waiting for the change. If the change is not happening, you move out. There's no hatred. We don't have to, caught up in, whether I'm doing right or wrong. So you must protect yourself. So there, the hissing doesn't work. Like the snake hissing or not biting doesn't work. So there are numerous situations, life goes through. Everyone, each individual is exposed to different situations. Protect ourselves must at any cost. At the same time, in your heart, maintain that harmony. Don't develop any hatred. Like I was saying, it's again connected to the Maxim 5 we are talking about last week, right? In the Maxim 5, we said, take miseries as divine blessings. There we are talking about accepting, moving away from, if I develop hatred, my life is stuck. Any negative emotions, my life is stuck. We have to move on. Right? The more we get rid of ourselves from this anything which is holding on to our mind, we need to get rid of and move on. Otherwise, we are holding the whole life itself. It's not worth it. So on one side, we are very selfish about it. On the other side, we are looking for the overall growth around us. Both are happening at the same time. So treat all as thy brethren, yes. At the same time, so we pray, we accept what's going around us, and we pray that whoever we see wrong, they're doing wrong, we pray. And again, we need to have that shield in front of us. We must know what we are doing, and we must know the outcome of it. So recognizing this universal unity, oneness. So know that without everyone come to the highest state, there is no escape. It's like we might escape this birth and life cycle, but there is no escape. The yoga, the so-called yoga we talk about, oneness we talk about with the ultimate, doesn't happen. So a part cannot become a yoga. Oneness with that ultimate, right? The whole only come and become one with it. So what we are talking about is whole, is all life, all existence has to become one with it, so that we all become one with it. Until then, I might go here somewhere, but I have to pray for everyone behind us. We have to, with complete heart, we must always pray. So what do we do in heartfulness? We have this 9 p.m. prayer. I don't think we ever spoke about this 9 p.m. prayer. Babuji called it as universal prayer. So we pray to that Almighty with all our heart, saying, everyone is growing. Their devotion and love for the ultimate is growing in them. And they're all, moving towards it. So and the love is growing very strong in them. So we pray for 10 minutes. In fact, Babaji suggested, wherever you are, stop everything you're doing. At 9, close your eyes and meditate for the universal brotherhood. It works. When everyone is praying, it works. So whatever the time zone you are in, 9 p.m. is the fixed time. And that's one added practice other than meditation, cleaning, and bedtime prayer. So the more regularly we do it, some change will come. So many great personalities have come and worked for this change relentlessly. We are all working towards it. The more we grow, the more we want to distribute that growth. Here the spiritual wealth we are accumulating as a process of meditation, cleaning, and prayer, we must distribute it. And how do you distribute it? This 9 p.m. prayer is a way of doing it. So it becomes our sole responsibility to do this 9 p.m. prayer very regularly. So I'll share the prayer in our in the WhatsApp group. So please try to include that as an element in your practice, the 9 p.m. universal prayer. Earlier I used to keep the alarm, but now As soon as the 9 p.m. is approaching, there is some shift I can feel in my heart. I know it's time. Right? So I'll stop here for any questions and we can get into meditation. So maybe I said in Maxim 7 in the beginning, but we are actually discussing Maxim 6. Any comments, questions? All right. So